Welcome back to another episode of the PO3 Podcast. My name is Marcus.
What's up, John's here? What up?
Hey, he's going to get more comfortable the more
Well, no, I don't got a cool name.
John Tovar.
It's not that cool. It's just a name.
It is what it is. I mean, hey.
Also known as Frank Lucas online, though. What up?
You want to use that name?
No, absolutely not.
Hey, I don't think anybody really likes their names.
Well, it's not that I don't like my name. It's just I don't think it's cool. That's it. To me, it's just a name. I don't think it's a bad name. If I was named like Rodrigo or something like that, I wouldn't be too happy. But
bro, I'm really, really sad that my mom didn't like the fact that my dad wanted to name me Marcus Aurelius.
That's a hard name.
She fucked up my whole shit. That's a that's a hard ass name. That's a Greek god's name.
Yeah.
And I mean, Marcus Anthony's all right. That's my middle name, but I think
Marcus Anthony Aurelius.
Marcus Aurelius is like more fire.
Yeah, it's a hard name for sure.
I thought about changing it, bro. I'm not even lying. Like the way I came up with my name wasn't even me. Like we were in the studio one day and we were like, dude, you need a different name because my fucking name, and I've never admit this, but my name before was Relevant. My rapping name was not like it was relevant at the time. Like, no, that was my name. It was fucking relevant. And we're like, bro, everyone was like, this shit has to go. Like, and I was like, I agree. Okay, so let's change it. So we sat down and one of the producers was like, how about Marcus Marx? I was like, okay. And that was literally it. Like, that was it.
No thought.
And yeah, and I've just used it. And
it flows though.
It's all right. I still don't like it. And I wish I could change it to like fucking Eagle or some shit like that. But like, you know what I mean?
Bird of prey.
like I wish I could change it, but it's really not important anymore. So
well, that's your alter ego now, man. Marcus Marx, but it flows. It's not like it's a bad name.
But welcome back to the PO3.
Oh, yeah.
I'm here with Jonathan Tovar.
Yeah.
You want to be called John or Jonathan?
You call me John. It's fine.
I've called you John, so it's only natural.
And then you and everybody else. So
yeah.
John will work. Hi, John's here.
So yeah, we left off on the last podcast, and we were reading off the chapters of the 12 Rules to Life book by Jordan Peterson, right?
That's correct. Yes.
And we only got to, I think, 8. And then, actually, we didn't even elaborate on 8, really. We just kind of pointed it out. But if you want to continue on that, we can continue on that.
The last couple of rules, though, I know one in particular. Or two of them are going to make a lot of sense. And I believe I know for a fact in the chapter he'll give context to what he means by it. But on the surface, you're like, what the hell does this mean? But yeah, we can go back to that real quick. We have the book.
Hey, the books actually look fire right there.
Not too bad, huh?
Yeah.
We look smart.
I've like I said, I've admitted it too. I don't read any of the books I have just because it's so hard for me to get through a page. But if they have it in audio form, I'm down with it. So
I'm sure there's gonna be an audiobook out there for some.
Yeah,
for this. I wish he did the audiobooks for him because his voice is like you can just listen to him talk for hours.
Yeah, like
very soft-spoken guy.
You know when stupid people are like, I'm a visual learner? Well, that's me. I'm one of those stupid people. Like I have to like.
That's not stupid.
They're just like what kind of like beating around the bush and it is what it is.
Actually, no, I wouldn't say it's stupid. There's just I'm actually again. We talked about last one going through my police academy. Like the first day we were there, we had to fill out the sheet, and you answered, kind of like when you take like a application test, like strongly disagree or strongly agree thing.
I hate those tests. They
right.
fuck me up.
Well, basically what they were trying to figure out was the type of learner you were, and there was 3 types. There was the visual, there was the person that needs to do it, and then the person that can utilize. I believe is both of them. It doesn't matter which of the 2 it is, and they were trying to highlight, how you best learn and retain the information. So never in there did they say, okay, if you're stupid, if you're one of these 2 or one of these 3. So,
but it is a misconception, and there is a stigma on it. Like, oh, he's a visual learner. That guy's a visual learner right there. Like, fuck, all the teachers saying is like, great. You know what I mean? At least that's my experience.
Well, again, just maybe bad teachers.
Yeah, and we went over that too. And like I said, there's not enough good teachers in the world. I think it would have really changed. Like, fuck it, dude. Maybe I needed special education. Maybe I needed. Not in that sense, but like maybe I needed someone to go further in depth with me to like help push me to my full potential.
Yeah, we can always go back and look in hindsight.
Yeah,
and break, tear down our experiences and whatnot. But you are sum total of all the experiences in your life, so you wouldn't be who you are today if
without it, and I wouldn't trade it either.
So yeah,
So going back to the chapters, and I've never read this book before,
I'm
but
not even done with it myself, so I'm like about halfway through.
I actually want to look into the audio form of this book, and if they do have it, then I'll cop that so I can, you know, take it in and see what it has to offer me. Because I try not to judge a book by its cover, no pun intended. But
Ba-doom-ts.
I'll put that in the fucking post production. But yeah, I try not to judge a book by its cover. You know, I kind of want to give everything a shot. And if it catch my interest, it catch my interest. But just reading based off the rules here, the table of contents.
It's all right, dude. Those are play.
There's a little table with hella like the Asia and shit. You know what I mean? It seems really interesting and generalized, which is a good thing.
And the cool thing about Jordan Peterson in particular is
He's my cousin.
oh, that'd be great. I'd like to meet him. And every one of the podcasts that he has his own channel, or when he's a guest speaker, he elaborates on all this stuff. And so even if you don't get the book, you just check out one of his things on YouTube, and he's highly popular. You type in Jordan, and it's going to automatically filter Peterson. Or maybe it just does for me since, you know, with my algorithm, my account type thing.
Yeah.
But
for sure.
you're going to get all this in some way or form. Maybe not in depth as you would in the book, but he does touch bases on almost all of this. So just check him on YouTube if you don't even want to get the book.
Yeah, so if you guys like listen to Joe Rogan, which you most likely do if you're listening to this podcast, or just podcasts in general, you can just type in Joe Rogan, Jordan Peterson, and it'll probably pop right up.
And they have 3 podcasts together.
Okay, So there's a little trilogy going on there.
Yeah, and if you go to the comments, the audience is always asking for more repeat podcasts. So.
Yeah, and if you go to YouTube as well and type in PO3 Podcast, you'll get this one.
Yeah, hit the subscribe button too.
And you know what? I don't ask that. My aunt always tells me like, dude, ask them. You know what I mean? Tell them, like, remind them, like, hey, yo, subscribe. Hit subscribe and
hit the bell for notifications too.
Please subscribe.
You know, that way every time we upload, you get advised that it's on there and you can check it out.
Please subscribe to me. You'll be disappointed. You won't be disappointed.
Yeah, you almost butchered that one.
I did it on purpose. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, so rule number 9: assume that the person you are listening to might know something you don't.
And I think that's highlighted in today's political world right now. You know, not to get into a political discussion, but just think about how people are. Like if you're on one side or the other, and no matter what you say to the other person, they're not going to want to listen to what you have to say. They just want to prove that you're wrong and how they're right.
People have a natural bias, and a lot of people don't like to be swayed the other way.
And yeah, I think that's true. And I think most people honestly don't care. You know, like they don't like it's.
Do you think that's lazy thinking?
Yes, I think everybody has the ability to change that aspect, and I think it's a good one because even if you and I disagree on a particular topic, I still might learn something from what you have to say. But also, I think people often listen to rebuttal. They don't listen for the sake of listening. They listen to respond.
Yeah, they want to just give their point and prove you wrong.
Exactly. So, and again, that's kind of a narrow-minded way of thinking. And I think that, again, is highlighted in today's political world. Yeah,
I mean, a lot of people just have a natural bias to things, you know? And I kind of feel like it ties into underestimating somebody. Because a lot of times when you're underestimating somebody, you think that you're going to already say it's an MMA fight or, you know, a boxing fight or whatever your opponent, you know, whatever you guys happen to be doing in that situation. If he's your opponent, a lot of the times people will underestimate their opponent if they don't have as much experience as them. So they automatically think there's nothing that this guy is going to do to me that is going to defeat me, when oftentimes that's like your biggest downfall is underestimating your opponent. Because like you said here, like you need to keep in mind that this guy might have another card up his sleeve. You know what I mean? He might be holding an ace. You don't know that. Just because he's a white belt and you're a black belt doesn't mean that he can't put you in a chokehold.
Yeah, of course.
You know, because
although those are vastly different degrees of levels. No, so even I would say it's improbable, but not.
Well, even Joe Rogan, who's a black
impossible.
belt, said there's been plenty of times and where he was rolling with somebody in jiu-jitsu and they were a white belt and he was a black belt and they would end up tapping him. And the guy, like the person who tapped him, the white belt, asked him, he was like, hey, did you just give that to me? He's like, no, bro, like you really got me. Like sometimes you just get got, you know what I
No,
mean?
that's what I'm saying. I would just say that it's not likely. Not
It's not likely,
but it's the
but
probability still exists that it can happen. Yeah, and he's just as you
that-
point out with Joe Rogan. So
well, the same thing applies. Just because you don't get in a car crash doesn't mean you shouldn't wear your seatbelt. You know, it's probably not going to happen today. It's probably not going to happen today, but it will happen. It might happen. It's a possibility, you know, and you have to be open to the fact that that is a possibility and you can't rule that out. And I've kind of tried to live my life like that way, like that and that mentality with everything that I do. You know what I mean? And that's exactly why I stopped experimenting with psychedelics or anything like that, even though I've never tried psychedelics. But I knew the possibility of a bad trip existed. And for a lot of people that haven't had those bad trips, they don't even understand that that road exists. But once you understand that that road exists, you're kind of you're more likely to treat it with respect. You know what I mean? Rather than ignoring it. And I think that's where a lot of people fall short. They don't prep for it mentally, and it kind of hits them off guard, and then that's when they get knocked on their ass and humbled, because it humbled me. You know what I mean? And
humility goes a long way.
Yeah,
for sure.
And the same thing goes back to rule number 9. Just assume that this person can teach you something.
Yeah, that's a very truthful, statement that applies to everybody. But often ignored in my.
I mean, how many times have you been like proved wrong? Like to somebody, like you kind of like, oh, well, this guy's an idiot, but then he gets to talking.
All the time.
Yo, I'm doing it right now.
No, it happens all the time. And I try to be free thinking. I try not to limit myself to like, okay, what I know is my truth and that's the only truth out there. You know? And, I talk to my girlfriend all the time and I always bring up Jordan Peterson, but like he's been that person for me oftentimes, And granted, he's a very intelligent individual, but just open mind. It can teach you a lot and take you far, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, it'll cause you a lot of disappointment if you just learn to open your mind a little bit and just be open to everything rather than just being set in your ways. Because a lot of people are set in their ways and they refuse to change because they're just stubborn and they're so firm on their own beliefs. And I was like that for a very long time.
Yeah, I mean, even politically speaking, not going to get open up that kind of worms.
You can, I mean, if you want. I just can't hang with you on politics.
No, but my point being was that I was set firm on one particular topic, and after listening to the counter argument to it, I was just kind of like, yo, that makes sense. Yeah, at least in my eyes now, it makes sense. And I actually flipped my viewpoint on that particular topic.
I noticed that with you in a big way because you were one of those guys, just like me, back in the day, knew his shit. So there was little you could tell him to sway his mental pendulum, and his beliefs. You were like that for a very long time because what you had working for you was the fact that you were smart and I don't know, a lot of people that you came across, at least in my opinion, I could be wrong, so correct me and stop me if I'm wrong, but weren't as smart as you. So it was rare that somebody offered a perspective to you that you hadn't already thought of.
I don't know that I can agree with that. It's not like it's like you're wrong. It was just I always find myself invested in weird things, as far as like obtaining information goes. And so like you mentioned earlier, a guy that knows a lot about a lot. Like I would say I know enough to get by about a vast array of topics, but it doesn't go very much further than that. Unless
do you give yourself real credit though?
Well, I spoke on humility a little bit ago, so I try to remain humble. I don't want to, inflate my ego. I would say that.
Of course not.
I would say in some regards, I don't even want to say the word smarter than others, but I guess smarter than others and not as smart as others.
And honestly, bro, it's fine to say that.
Smarter than some, not as others. So, it's just, I would say I'm in the middle. Maybe a little past it, but not much farther.
Here's the thing with me, and I've always been this way, and I hate to toot my own horn, people, but I'm just being honest, and I'm just giving you my perspective and the way my brain works and how I think. I've always just known that there was somebody who was always smarter than me, faster than me, taller than me, better than me. Just in general, those people exist, and it is what it is. You just gotta accept who you are, know your lane, and that's why I've never been one to. That's why I've never been one to brag. But there are times where I come across people, I'm like, I am smarter than this person, but that doesn't mean that I can't learn something from them.
100%. 100%. Yeah, in some regard, yeah, I would say that I'm smarter than some people, but I think it's more I can articulate my thoughts better than some.
And that doesn't mean, yeah, and that doesn't even necessarily mean that you're smart. That just means that you know how to articulate yourself.
Exactly. So that's maybe what I was trying to say.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah, because anybody, if they learn and you teach them, could do the same thing.
Although I will say, I think there are a lot of dumb people out there, and it annoys me because it's a choice.
Yeah.
You know, like
I don't know if it's a choice all the time, bro.
I'm not saying if you have like a cognitive disability where you can't think. I'm talking like people, like think about when we were in school. Like being smart wasn't something that was revered.
But we did choose to go the other way, and I feel like that's just something you're not born with. Because for me, I was surrounded by people a lot of the times where if I wanted to, and I didn't look at the situation for what it was, I could have ended up in a lot worse of a position than I am now. I could have fucked my life up very easily, put it that way. But for whatever reason, and you know what, it might be because I had both of my parents, and I had a father who would fuck me up, and that I was fearful of, you know, and a mother who I didn't want to disappoint. So I know that plays a huge factor. But even then, as a kid, you're very impulsive and you're very curious to open up that can of worms. And for whatever reason, I just knew not to.
Well, yeah. I guess what I was trying to say was,
but is that a gift, or is that something I'm just born with? And some people just aren't born with that. Some people don't have that.
Well, I mean,
so is it a choice at that point?
I think we always have a choice, in my opinion.
But what if they're just incapable of thinking that way because of their environment? I done fucked them up.
Well, no, because what I'm trying to say is I think that there's, you know, we're products of our environment, sure, but there's also people that come from some very hellacious environments that don't go down that particular path. They make the choice not to.
Me being, and I don't like to use myself as an example, but my family has had their share in the system. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I have drug addicts in my family, recovered drug addicts, mental instabilities. People have been institutionalized in my family, and I saw that growing up. You know, and even within my environment in the town that I lived in, a lot of my friends at the time, before I decided and made a conscious decision to stop hanging around these people, they were doing the same things. People were getting killed, you know, we're just, because you're kids. You know what I mean? You're fucking crazy at that time. But I made a conscious decision to walk over to your guys' table.
Well, like I said,
So why did those people that I was involved with, how come they didn't have the choice or know better to make that choice? What separates that person from me?
Again, your choice, your choices. And a lot of choices that we make are either ill-advised, you know? And so it could be pressure from their peers to not be that person.
I think a lot of times it is.
But again, it comes down to a choice that these people make, in my opinion, that, you know, that led them down that other direction versus the one that you chose to take. But when I say dumb people in the sense, I mean like
ill-informed.
I would just say like they scrutinize nerds.
Yeah.
You know, and I would say that's a side of myself that I've embraced, you know, is I'm a nerd.
You know what? I didn't know it for a long time, but I'm a nerd too.
Yeah, like, you know, and so I don't see that as a bad thing. You know, I mean, think of some of the most successful people in life, you know.
I think it's sexy when somebody knows a lot of stuff. I'm talking like in general. I think it's just like cool. You know what I mean? Like, okay, this person has some intellect, and I'm a fiend for knowledge. I have like this insatiable appetite to like learn.
Yeah, and you can take that back to being as a child. Like I'm talking like, you know, 4 or 5 years old, you're exploring the world, you're asking questions.
Masturbate, like whatever. And that's what I was exploring, y'all.
But you know, my point being though is that it's the thirst for knowledge is out there, and I believe most have the cognitive ability to want to do, or that they have the ability to do it. They just choose not to for whatever amount of reasons that lay in front of them. They just choose not to.
I agree.
And that's what bugs me the most about people is it's like there's this stigma that surrounds, you know, getting an education, you know, and all this stuff. And I don't like that. You know, granted, I only have a high school diploma, so it's not like I'm a college educated individual. And again, a choice that I made, you know, which I actually, you know, started my application for community college like a week ago. You know, I got to gather some information that I don't have it ready at hand, so that's why I haven't completed it. But again, a choice. I want to learn more, and I don't necessarily have a particular path in mind with that.
I was gonna ask, like, what are you interested in pursuing?
I just want to learn more, and so I've narrowed it down to three things: psychology, philosophy, or English.
My fiance graduated with her for psychology, but I mean, as you guys know, you have to pretty much get a master's in psychology.
Same thing with my girlfriend, as a matter of fact. Yeah. So,
but she's very smart as well. You know what I mean? And it is a very interesting subject because at one point, dude, I wanted to be like a neuroscientist and shit, just because of what I was going through. I was so intrigued of like the brain and the mind and how it works and like the chemistry of everything and the science behind it. So I'm kind of on that same page, but I just know it's a lot of fucking work that I wasn't willing to put in,
Yeah, again, choice.
Yeah. We call this episode Choices.
There we go. Choices.
I'm just like, crap. When you hit a wall sometimes.
Like, what's going on here? He's having a meltdown. He's having a meltdown, guys.
No, but like I think that if you're gonna, because I want to go back to school too, bro, and I'll be honest, like I haven't heard it from a lot of people, but if you guys watch my vlogs, you guys know that I'm pursuing a treatment plan and finally seeking help for bipolar disorder. And I was talking to one of the psychiatrists rather, and I've done my homework on myself and I know what I'm dealing with. But when we were talking and she was assessing me, and this is coming from a doctor, which I feel like their word holds a little more weight because they know what they're talking about. But long story short, just with her brief time that she had with me on the phone, she told me, she was like, I'm very impressed with you. And I've never had that told to me in regards to like academics. Because if you guys knew what my report card looked like, which I still have and I'm still trying to find, I want to bring it on here. It's straight Fs. I literally had a 0.5 GPA.
Same here at one point.
Yeah, so I literally just...
Not that I'm proud of that, by the way, but it
takes
it happens.
It takes a toll, though, mentally, to know that that's what... It's not a legacy, but that's what's reflecting your intelligence. You know what I mean? But I know it's not. A piece of paper doesn't define me, but I just... Seeing the numbers and...
Wait, dude, okay, so I was in corrective reading, bro.
So was I.
Granted, I didn't belong there. The teacher told me it was because we had those placement tests when you were going to like junior high.
You probably guessed.
And no, I just answered. I was like the first one done in like 10 minutes for like a 2,000 word quote. Yeah. So didn't belong there. But yeah, I mean, this is something I've went through. I didn't belong to the teachers. Like, why are you here? I was like, well, I didn't take the test seriously. As a matter of fact, I just bubbled in like my name on the Scantron.
I did the same thing.
So again, ill-advised choice, but it is what it is. Again, like I said, I had a point something. I don't know if it was 0.5, but it was definitely...
So I didn't even know that you got down that low. I thought you were like a 3.0 GPA type.
No, I think when I finally graduated, it was like a 2 point something.
Oh, wow.
I had to bust a lot. I had to stay after school a lot.
I can tell you now, man, if you wanted to, you could have knocked out a 4.0 easy. But at that time, our interests aren't in the area of academics. We want to just fucking talk to the girl next to us or go hang out with the homies.
Honestly, for me, I found school extraordinarily boring.
Oh, me too, bro. That's
and it like obviously high school girls, but the subjects weren't interesting to me. The only ones I actually found interesting were history.
I like science.
Oh, that too. But I think the only class I remember for science for some reason was I had Wild with chemistry.
Yo, how about he passed away?
Wild passed away?
Aaron was just telling me this the other day that Coach Wild passed away.
Oh, dude, I did not know that. He was a great baseball coach.
This is literally what we were talking. He changed the way I played baseball.
100% same here.
Yeah, he was one of the best coaches that I've ever had. So, rest in peace.
Yeah, I didn't know that,
Mr. Wild.
But
yeah,
he family finds solace, man. Like, that's rough.
Yeah, because he had 2 kids as well. Or I think 3 kids.
Well, I know one of them was in high school with us.
Yeah, he played baseball too.
I think Jordan.
Yeah, Jordan Wild. But anyway, yeah, it was fucked up to hear that. But what was I gonna say? It had something. Well, how did we get on?
School boring, science class.
Oh yeah, he was a science teacher. But you were saying how that was one of your more interesting.
It was interesting enough to keep me entertained during class, but I one of my biggest vices is homework.
Uh-huh.
I felt like I spent 7+ hours in school a day, and you're gonna give me more crap to do at home. It just
Yeah.
didn't sit well with me, and that was my big. Even when I went to community college for a little bit, I hated the assignments at home. I never did them.
I feel like homework's a bit of a kick in the dick, honestly.
Well, now we call it overtime. You got to do work at home. They're gonna pay you for it. So that I guess that was my.
Well, you're getting paid in education, so
Well, yeah, but I didn't see it that way at that time. I just
Of course
figured
not.
I'm outside of school. It's my time. If I want to go play Halo 2, I'm gonna go play Halo 2, or you go
I-
to Jenny Park and play with the boys. But
I don't know how you saw it, but when I was in school, the thought of graduating or anything past high school, um, buying your first house, buying your first car, getting married, having kids, like all that shit to me in high school, let alone graduating, getting through school was a fucking pipe dream to me, bro. Like I never, ever, ever saw myself graduating, and everything was just so impossible to me. It was crazy.
no, I can't say that that was true for me. I did have visions of like getting my own house at some point in time and stuff like that, but very, very short sighted. Like it was just like, okay, that's what I want at some point, but that comes later, not necessarily thinking about the road work you have to lay in front of yourself to actually get to that point. And here I am at 30 years old, and I'm trying to get a house next year, but it's happening later than I would have honestly liked. But again, I didn't put forth the effort to start that portion of my life early enough. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, it's very rare that you get a kid who is motivated to like and understands the bigger picture in life and knows what they're working towards. And I feel like that's part of the education system's problem is that they need to understand a different way of teaching. Like in order to get through a child's like an adolescent's mind, the growing teenager with hormones running rampant, it's like it's very rare that you can get through to a student. And I feel like the approach to teaching, like you said, it was very boring. It needs to
it really
change.
was. Mind you, I was in I don't know if my grades were like a point something per, the GPA was a
Bro, I
point
had
something.
no
at that
idea that you.
Yeah, I think it was below 2.0 at that point, honestly. But I was in an AP class.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? And I dropped out because I had summer projects.
I actually enjoyed summer school.
Well, I went there to go make up classes that I didn't do well in, but like,
We went just to fuck around.
but yeah, I was
Bro,
actually in an AP class, bro.
I remember one fucking summer school class that we had. This poor fucking teacher, bro. It was just chaos by like the second, third day, bro. Fucking, we were skateboarding in there, and then we were fucking letting off the fire extinguishers and shit, and like seeing how fast they would spin around, and fucking playing catch, and like, bro, and the teacher was like gave up, bro. Like she was done. Like I feel so bad for that fucking teacher, bro. It was hilarious. Smoke was in that class with us. I think.
Well,
That's when I came up with the fucking random game. Okay,
The-
so
oh,
it's an
yeah.
inside joke where like I
Was it
started this thing a long time
AMS?
ago.
remember, well, we called it AMS after that, where it was like you Reebok, running everywhere.
Okay, no, that was an acronym game, but this one
Oh.
was different. This one was I would
not aware of
speak
this one.
this one I would speak to you and you remember it, but I started it in text originally, but then I started verbalizing it and I was like, "Hey, so you understand that like if you have a green lawn and you roll your window down, like obviously your knives are gonna dull out, right? Okay, so for me, I can't turn the pages that fast. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, okay, I remember this now.
So why are your glasses not shiny? I would speak. It was complete gibberish, is what it was.
I was never good at that. Like you can see me working immensely at trying to formulate some random set of words, but because like you can just say random words, but yours flowed in this beautiful manner, but made no sense.
Like if you didn't understand English and you heard it from like a different language, like you say you spoke Spanish and you heard it, but you didn't understand what I was, you would think I was just saying shit.
Yeah, exactly. It's like now it's like, is he talking in code? Like, because it flows. So I wasn't never good at it.
Bro, this was in high school and I kept doing that shit. And I did it to my cousins. And now we have a thing in a group chat. We don't do it as much, but like back in the day, we used to do it a lot. My cousins started calling it Smurf. Like they would hit me with a fucking text, be like, "Hey, Smurf me," and I would send them a text of just random bullshit, and it was just like almost poetic.
Dude, you used to send me random ones. We didn't have a thread specific to that, but you would just send me random. Like it'd be like, I don't know, 2 weeks I didn't hear from you, and all of a sudden just this random set of gibberish. Matter of fact, speaking about random stuff, when you were sitting there at Andrew's car, oh, this is the bougainvilleas and crepe myrtles.
Oh, I disappointed you so bad with that
when
one.
I found out years later.
Oh, it was years?
Yeah. Oh no. Actually, no. It was a substantial amount. Okay, it wasn't years. You're right. It was months later, but it was a substantial amount of time. And I think we just Googled randomly this crap that you would
Because you were
say.
so like intrigued with that word that I made it. So I was speaking gibberish and I mentioned bougainvilleas and whatever other
Crepe myrtle.
crepe myrtle. And at the time I was working at Lowe's in the garden section. So I just like stole those words from the plant and implemented it into my speech. Random talk.
100% thought that these were made up words, and I thought they were
So
so
creative.
funny, and I was laughing. And then when we Googled them for some weird reason, and we started seeing plants come up.
And then you text me, and you were just.
I was just like, and then I put two, and is he working at Lowe's? I was like, this son of a bitch, he got me. Like, and then I was disappointed. I was like, oh, this was a Mark special, you know?
Well, for the most part, I mean, it was all original shit, except for like a couple of things here and there. But yeah, I mean, bro, like that was like the shit that I was occupying myself with when I should have been learning, you know, and I was like more focused on, hey, let's play the random game. And then AMS was a different game.
Yeah. But yeah, you know, I mean, that's part of being a kid, I guess, you know, and
Yeah.
like I said, I'm happy with where I am in life. And if things one little thing would have been different, you know, there's a chance we couldn't even be sitting here right now doing this very thing. So
Same here, bro. But circling back, so we were talking about college for you and everything, but I'm getting back to that. I've never had that told to me before, that they were impressed with me with anything that involved academics. And she told me, and this is coming from a doctor, psychiatrist with a PhD, so I took it very personally. She was like, I think that you should really pursue your education because I think you have a lot of potential.
I've told you this numerous times.
And I apologize if anybody has told me that, but I don't vividly remember it. And for whatever reason, it just hit different coming from a doctor.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's an educated individual, you know,
she's
PhD,
credible. She's credible.
It's PhD level, you know, that's no easy feat, you know, and so.
And it honestly made me happy to hear that.
Well, yeah.
And I believed it for the first time.
Like, you would always say, you know, like, oh, I'm dumb, I'm not smart. And I was like, dude, I've had some of the best conversations that I've ever had were with you, and it wasn't about the random game or
it was intellectual shit.
You know, to some degree, you know, yeah. Like I'm not gonna say, because I don't consider myself an intellectual.
Okay, maybe I'm overusing that word.
But the conversation it has substance to it.
Okay, yeah,
you know, and so great conversation. Like one of the guys I work with, probably one of the smartest dudes I've ever met. And again, I believe he's educated in college and stuff like that. And the conversations that you and I have had in the past were of similar significance. And so I guess kind of validate what the doctor said, you know, having my conversation with you and then having conversations with a very educated individual and seeing how they were meaningful in the same capacity. Like, dude, you're a smart cat, you know, and I think you sell yourself short. You know, and that's probably something that you're working on, that you've dealt with, and you know. But I'm glad this doctor was able to give you some validation, you know, and a push forward to, you know, maybe future endeavors for education.
100%, bro, and I appreciate it. And for the longest time, I've always believed I was a fucking idiot, and this is I'm not blowing this out of proportion. When I say that, I mean it, and I mean it to my core. Like I really believed that I was inept. And that I wasn't capable, you know, academically to achieve anything really. You know what I mean? I've always sold myself short, and that comes from a place of deep-rooted insecurity. And it's something that I've been working on. But like I said, for the first time, I actually took that into consideration, and am contemplating the idea of like, all right, well, if I'm going to spend my money on anything, why not education? You know what I'm saying? But for me, I mean, like for you, like there's nothing in specific that kind of like takes my particular interest, other than maybe teaching, because I would really want to be involved with like molding minds and stuff, something like that, because I feel like I have a lot to offer. But what I know best, my passion, is this type of shit. So why not pursue that?
Exactly, you know, and for me trying to get back into school, you know, English, you know, like of all particular, out of the vast array of, you know, majors you can get in English. And I actually got that from a podcast with Jordan Peterson and Jocko Willink. He's Navy SEAL. There you go. And he was like, no, I think it's Willink, something like that. Anyway.
Just type in Jocko.
Yeah, you'll come up. Get started early. You know,
you'll probably get Jock Itch first, but just scroll down the second one.
But anyway, you know, this guy's a freaking Navy SEAL, hardcore, high-speed dude.
You know, him and Goggins are like homies.
Yeah, and he mentions him and the dude from Lone Survivor.
Oh, Marcus Luttrell,
Yeah,
which I thought was hard that was his first name.
and also
Chris Kyle.
yeah.
Yeah. So I think Goggins was in the same Bud's like Navy SEAL Hell Week training same platoon, or I don't know what they call it, battalion or something like that. He was in the same class as him, but he got rolled back 3 times. So it was either in the first or second class that he was in actual Bud's training with Chris Kyle.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's dope, bro, because David Goggins ended up going through a total of 3 times through Hell Week. Bro, that's fucking unheard
Yeah, I know.
of.
That's talk about determination.
To still have the mental fortitude to continue and complete and become bro.
I mean, I see the
Try again was invented for this man.
right? You see the training online. It's just like, dude, people volunteer for this.
And honestly, bro, I really wish that I could say like I can do that. I don't know if I could do that, and I don't understand.
It's like you mentioned in the last one. There's, or maybe it was this one, just people that are better than others. And there's just
you have it or you don't.
And there's. It's hard for a reason. They need the people that are there to be that person they need them to be, and so.
Bro, you're missing. Keep going. Sorry, I don't want to cut you off.
No, go. What were you gonna say?
Well, it's just if you haven't yet, you're missing a podcast with Joe Rogan and Marcus Luttrell on Spotify.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't seen Joe Rogan's stuff since he went to Spotify.
I'm just saying there's some episodes on there that you're missing.
But anyway, so he was like, "Yeah, I went for English," and it's kind of like.
Oh, I thought you were gonna continue on the fucking.
Oh, no,
Navy SEAL shit.
So he was like, you would think Jocko, this high speed dude, why is he going for English? And he was like, I need to be able to articulate my thoughts better. And me being in my profession, putting my words on paper means a lot, And then he talks about in here like being precise in your speech, which is another one of the rules. I think English would help mold that and make me, if you could write, I mean, they say the pen's mightier than the sword.
The pen's mightier than the sword.
And so that's kind of why I want to go that route. Like I said, I don't have a particular avenue that I'm trying to pursue. It's just I want to get educated, and whatever that road leads me down, we'll address at that time. But yeah, education. It's taking me this long after
Yeah, how many years are we out of high school?
12 now.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
And I think we graduated in 08, and then winter of 09.
Isn't that insane? Okay, so I'm older than all my friends, and I should have graduated if I was on track. Graduated in 2007. I didn't graduate, keep in mind, but all my friends graduated before me, and I was older than them, so it was like a weird thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it happens, bro.
Yeah, but it was funny though. It was an interesting dynamic. That's why when I would say in the past, like when I was in high school, all my friends had graduated already, so I just decided to go on home studies. Because you guys were a year ahead of me. When it came to grades, and I only got to I think 10th, and then I called it quits. But I think English would fit you though, if anything. And I'm not just saying that to say that. I feel like because what Jocko meant, I think that's important to be able to convey your message.
Mm-hmm. And that's kind of where I'm at, man. I just want I want to be able to whether it be on paper or through my voice. Whatever's going on up here, I want to be able to put that out there in the best possible fashion,
And you know what, bro? Like, this is the perfect platform to do that.
Yeah, I would agree.
If anything, if you have a podcast and this and that, like, I would think that, like, yeah, you would work on your socials, your communication skills, I feel like if there is ever a place and time for it, not only in your relationship, or just in general, but like on a podcast, that way it resonates with people and you know how to say things to make it appealing, because there's a lot of ways to like dope up a conversation and use these big intellectual words, but sometimes that don't hit for people. Sometimes you got to dumb it down.
Yeah, I agree.
And I feel like that in itself is a skill set, knowing how to communicate it.
Yeah, maybe even a degree in communication would be beneficial too.
Is that what that is though? Like communication, like just learning how to.
Yeah, I don't think it's like.
I just picture people on phones and shit.
No, I mean, maybe that's like a subcategory. Maybe I'm completely wrong. I don't know, but I just feel like communication is like talking to people.
You get the app that says just be on phones and shit.
Right.
Like when you sign up.
All right, cool, done. We're pretty good at that here in 2021. So.
Oh, I know, right? I try not to. If at any point I'm cutting you off, you can tell me to fuck off, bro. Because I have a tendency to cut people off.
Nah, you're good. It's conversation. It happens.
Okay. Rule number 10, and this is, sorry, it took a while to get here, but be precise in your speech.
Yeah. Say what you mean, mean what you say. And Jordan Peterson on his, when he goes on to his public speaking platforms and stuff like that, like people really try to read the other rules because they're weird. I'm telling you.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, I didn't want to look at it.
He's a lot of the people he gets interviewed by are opposition, and so they try to pin him into a corner.
Devil's advocate.
And they're trying to make him something he's not.
Oh, they're debating.
Yeah, it's usually a debate, and so they'll be like, "So what you're saying is, or you said this?" He goes, "That's actually not what I said," and he, like verbatim will repeat exactly what he said.
Is this the guy that you were telling me had this one interview that they were trying to do that to him, and he just kind of completely obliterated him?
There's been that's probably the case, probably the guy, but there's been like almost everyone, unless it's like someone like Joe Rogan, where they're just trying to get like a perspective on a topic. But usually for these interviews, they're debates, and they're trying to pin him into a corner because they don't like something he said.
Okay.
And so they'll try to use, or they'll like sound, what do they call it, sound baiting, where they'll like take a very small section of what you actually said.
That should be illegal, bro.
Yeah, but it's
deep
media.
faking shit.
Yeah, so he's but again, back to being precise in your speech. That's what he's talking about. Just really good.
Rule number 11 here is very weird, and I really am interested to hear what the fuck you're gonna say. I don't know if because you haven't gotten this far yet.
No, and I've read into it and he explains it, but I've forgot. So
okay, so rule number 11 is do not bother children while they are skateboarding.
Yeah, I know without a doubt he goes into
there's some inside shit
there's
there.
meaning behind it a lot, and again, I told you there's a couple rules in here that just make no sense.
I feel like one time he bothered his kid while he bothered his kid while he was skateboarding, and the kid like broke his neck or something. Like, I don't know, got a concussion. That's what I'm getting from it. There's got to be some inside story.
Possibly, but knowing what I know about him just based off the stuff that I've heard and the little bit that I've read from him, probably not the case. There's probably some really deep-rooted meaning behind it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just being but like I think I know that there's way more meaning behind that.
So like the premise of this book is how to deal with the chaos that life,
Yeah, there's definitely incentive there to want to continue reading and find that out.
So because he's talking about like in life, we're all gonna be faced with adversity. Like things might be going good for you. Someone's gonna get sick in your family. You might get sick.
It's inevitable.
And so the purpose of this book is to give you some sort of generic roadmap of how to navigate through those waters and those times.
Yo, this book and Goggins' book have a lot of similarities because his whole idea of hardening yourself mentally and callousing your mind is to prepare mentally for those inevitable adversities that you're going to face.
Well, what's beautiful about that is his interviews with Jocko. Completely different people. One's a war-hardened warrior. The other's a professor that teaches at the University of Toronto and taught at Harvard. He's also a clinical psychologist.
And people like Jocko, just so you know, people like Goggins, they oftentimes don't like when people with PhDs are preaching this type of shit with no experience to back it.
No, well, I'm sure they don't, because I know I would not like that if I were in their position.
Well, because Goggins was like, he was at this seminar one time, and he was talking about this one huge, overweight, old dude was talking about how if you just put yourself in the right mindset, you can achieve the body that you want. But he himself
wasn't the image.
And Goggins, and that he was saying that there are limitations to people's capabilities, and some people just don't physically have the capabilities to be able to achieve what Goggins looks like.
Mm-hmm.
And Goggins called bullshit, and he hated that because he himself was obese at one point in time and had to lose 106 pounds in 3 months. And the odds were stacked against him, and on paper that looks impossible, but he did it. And that's why he's like, I don't like the fact that he's speaking just based on the shit that he learned in books without the life experience.
Of course. What I was trying to say, though, is the similarities in the way that they think. Mm-hmm. And Jordan coming from an educational, psychological background, and Jocko being a Navy SEAL, they pair beautifully. And the thing is like, Jordan will never be like, oh, I've been there, done that. He's just like, hey, in your perspective of being that person, what do you think about this? And he'll be like, I think what you said is 100%, and so it's nice to see these two people come from these two different completely areas of expertise, and there's so many commonalities between them. How you said that you can see a lot of similar stuff between what he says and what Goggins has said.
That goes back to rule number, let me see. Do not let your children compare yourself with. Okay, rule number 9. Assume that the person you're listening to might know something you don't.
Oh yeah, and it's great. There's this guy, I believe his name is Brett Weinstein. He's a professor of some sorts, mathematical something. Very, very smart guy. And he often has podcasts with Joe Rogan, or excuse me, he's been on Joe Rogan's podcast. So, but that's not what I was trying to say. With Jordan Peterson, and Jordan is often like, "Hey, in your opinion, what do you think about this? I would love to hear your thoughts on this." And so, even from a person that teaches at Harvard, still seeking information from other people. You know what I'm saying? So
even having a fucking PhD,
yeah,
he's still curious.
And so I think that's even from it's like if he's still doing it and this guy's achieved a PhD, and he's still out there on the quest for more information.
That just goes to show you that like you'll never know it all.
Never. There's the amount of information that's out there is far exceeds any one person's capability.
So the moment you think that you're the shit and that you have all the answers, just know. Like,
there's always someone better.
Exactly. Like check yourself, And I've been a big proponent of that. Like check your ego. Because if you don't, and you're hanging around people who aren't going to call your bullshit, you're in trouble. But eventually though, somebody will call you out, and it's just going to just save yourself the hassle and just like be honest, obviously with yourself, but just know like there's people that do know more than you, and that there's always going to be knowledge to learn. You're never done learning. You're never done learning.
So to wrap up on Jordan Peterson, because I feel like we talked about him a lot.
But that's cool. We still haven't even got through. Okay, we have one more rule here.
Well, then we got another 12 over here.
Do we really?
Yeah, this is a new book, but this is a new one. But this one now is I haven't started this one, but what he came out and said, this one's not a sequel.
Show it on there.
So Jordan B. Peterson, Beyond Order, 12 More Rules for Life. But this one is not a sequel. So you can actually
it's a separate book.
You can cop this one first and then read this one, and they'll complement each other.
So you recommend reading that one first?
No, there's no particular order.
Oh, okay.
I'm just saying you could. This is the newest one. This one came out in March, beginning of March. But it's this one's now dealing with too much order, and how too much order in your life could also be
a detriment.
A detriment, yeah. And so remember I told you the 12 rules on this one were like the 12 rules he narrowed it down to, and I think he said like 40 some, and this is 12 more. And so
oh god,
he's giving you like, okay, this was about dealing with chaos, this is about dealing with too much order, and I'm assuming becoming stagnant in life.
So he covers all bases.
So, yeah. So, but you don't have to read one or the other to get it. They complement each other, no matter what order you read them.
There's only one rule left here, so I'm gonna go over it.
And this one's even weirder than 11.
Okay, pet a cat when you encounter one on the street.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe he's interpreting it the same way how people feel about homelessness.
Potentially. Again, I forgot both those, so I could not elaborate and give you an art.
Well, here's what I'm just gonna give you my interpretation just on the first time reading that, and I know nothing about this book other than what you've told me. The way I interpret it as he might mean like, don't be afraid to like say hello to somebody who maybe looks intimidating, or because you never know what somebody's going to offer you, and oftentimes people just brush off homelessness, or they're reluctant to start or spark a conversation with a complete stranger. Oftentimes, and I know that because I've experienced it. We've all experienced it, and it's a different world now. Like everyone's just stuck and glued to their phones. That people, they very rarely say hi to you anymore, or even make eye contact anymore. Rather, much less start a conversation. You know what I mean? And I think it's something that I've been working on myself, is being open to that. If I'm in line with somebody and they start talking to me, I don't want to be the first thing that I go to is being annoyed. I kind of want to hear what they have to say.
That's great. Yeah, that's a good interpretation of what that could possibly mean.
What do you think?
Honestly, I have no clue.
I'm just kind of like throwing my idea
I wouldn't
out there.
even. To me, that's almost as random as the random game.
Yeah. Well,
You
now
know,
I want to
so
find out. And
um
so when you find out, I want you to come back and, well, obviously, but like, I want to know what that
yeah, most
means.
definitely. But yeah, I know this podcast is tailored toward mental health and stuff like that.
Well, this definitely ties into mental
Oh,
health because
100%.
it's generalizing your life and just bettering your life in
Uh
general. So if you can better your life,
this guy's to paint toward it this character, he after everyone he does like lectures. And
mm,
he'll go sell out a venue of some sort.
would you ever go to one?
If he came over here, 100%.
That's tight.
And but he talks about like how at the end of every show he legitimately tries to spend some time with the people that stick around. He says like, hey, it's anywhere from like we'll just say 10 to 20 seconds that each person has with him. But he says for those 20 or so seconds, he's as engaged with them as possible. And he said that he would stop doing these lectures when he was waiting for the end of the line to come around.
Does he have his own podcast?
Yes.
I was gonna say this guy
I think
sounds
it's I
perfect.
think it's
for
I
him.
think it's Jordan B. Peterson.
Okay.
And he actually started off by just posting his lectures from college
Yeah.
online, and all of a sudden one day just he was up at several 100,000 views on one, and just skipped over, and then he started getting invited to, and it just kind of took off from there. He's only been in the in this particular light, so to speak, for a few years, and he's made a very big impact. He said when he went to Europe, he had people traveling like 14 hours by train to come listen to what he had to say, and then often say thank you for the words that you've changed my life, whether
Yeah.
it be like fixing a relationship with a parent or a love or someone in your family, how to deal with, like he says, one of the things is try to be the strongest person at your father's funeral. Well,
Yeah.
and what he means by that is kind of like
I get that.
you know, it's hell, or it's painful going through that kind of stuff. And he goes, and you might be able to deal with that, but what makes it hell is you and all your, as he says, you and all your idiot siblings are fighting about stupid stuff.
Bro, I literally dealt with the same shit when my grandfather passed away. Everybody was fighting amongst themselves when me and my sister and my cousin were like, "Are you guys serious right now? Like this guy is about to take his last breath and the only thing that you guys are worried about is this petty shit."
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And no disrespect, but that's exactly what it was. When you should be cherishing this moment
Yeah,
for as much as it's worth and just getting everything you can out of these last few moments.
you
know
know,
what
and
I
then
mean?
and he was saying by that was being the person to bring that to an end and bring everybody in. He goes because
Oh man,
he's like you can deal with the loss of a loved one, but it's almost impossible to deal with it when you have everyone at each other's throats. And so just to kind of begin to paint a picture about the kind of stuff this guy talks about, and I truly mean this when I say this. I'm not sponsored by him or anything like that, but it's just he's got a lot of good information out there, and he's a psychologist, so he deals with mental health as a profession. He teaches
Mhm.
this at, like I said, the University of Toronto and at Harvard. Guy knows what he's talking about, and if you go to any one of his videos on YouTube, I guarantee you on the top comment you'll see within the first, maybe not the top comment, but the first couple scrolls, the father the generation never had. Like this guy is very, very wise, and he gives a lot of good sound advice. And again, it's coming from a person that truly cares. I mean, he's cried on you. Okay, you talked about the doctor that gave you your that sense of validation, right?
Yeah.
He talks about how the ones that touch him the most are the ones where people come to him and says like, "Thank you for you telling me I can do this," and giving me a path. And he broke down during the interview, and he's like, "I'm sorry, it's very touching, or it's very soft spot for me because why the hell do people have to come to me to hear these words that someone that's closer to them can just as easily tell them?"
Well, that's his gift, man.
But again, but it just goes to show that there's a problem, and
Yeah,
you know what I'm
okay.
saying, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and that's why he's so well received, is because he's out there trying to help people. And then for him, he's like, you know what, like let's make hay while the sun shines. Like if I have this, as he puts it, crazy opportunity, and I'll do it as long as I can. This guy's in his maybe 50s or 60s. He's not a young cat, and so he's out there trying to influence as many people as he could. So I always check him out, especially for if you're going through some stuff, he might be able to help you with a thing or two.
That really resonated with me a lot because and this is not anything new that you guys haven't heard before, but I've had a hard time displaying my sensitive side to my fiance. Like, say we're watching a movie or something like that, and it's a sad movie. I'm very, very reluctant to show my true emotions in that moment, and I like 100%, 10 times out of 10, I'll turn off that switch. Or if I'm going through something and I'm having a really fucked up day and I don't feel well, I turn off that switch that allows me to wear my heart on my sleeve, because I feel like I have to be the one who is the strong one in the relationship, because it's already hard enough for her feeling helpless. So I have to make it as easy on her as I possibly can by trying to be the strong one, because if I start breakdown and crying, and I do this, say I did that a lot, right? And oftentimes I feel like doing that, but I don't, because I feel like I have to remain strong for her to keep the security and let her know, like, look, I got this shit. And that's completely different than me communicating to her that I'm not feeling good, because I can do that. But if I break down, it's like if you're going to war with somebody and you see the fucking general panicking, it's probably gonna invoke panic amongst your soldiers. You know what I mean? And I feel like I have to remain the leader.
I could understand the rationale behind that. However, where I disagree is I feel it's healthy to let these emotions out. Um, Personally speaking, my heart's on my sleeve probably too often.
Yeah.
Um, and so, but I when it to me, I will manifest what you said when it matters. When it's time to be the person that needs to be the general leading the army. Um, I'll put those shoes on and I'll wear them. But I also, in my opinion, think there's a time and a place for that.
And there is a time and a place.
And I
bro.
feel like if you're in that position all the time, then it's not a good thing. I think it could be detrimental.
That's exactly why, because oftentimes, 9 times out of 10, I am feeling that way. And if I display it over and over to her that there's no hope, she's gonna lose hope. So I have to keep that inside of me, and I use it. But like I said, it's way different than communicating.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, I found myself probably a little bit more sensitive to, like you mentioned, movies or something like that. Like,
and I do too, 100%. There's so many times where if I've been watching movies by myself and want to fucking cry. Like, bro, Forrest Gump makes me want to cry.
it's a funny but touching movie.
But if
so
I
can
watch
understand
that with my fiance, I'm not gonna go there. I literally turn the switch off. I can feel myself starting to breathe easier, and the tears just fucking roll backwards, bro. I don't allow it, and that's something I'm working on, though.
Yeah, I mean, to be personal, I was coming back from a trip I took with my girlfriend. We went to Monterey, and a country song came on. And coming from my place where I was at before her and coming from hers, that song really touched home. And I was driving, and like they weren't like tears of sadness, but it was like tears of joy. And she was like, "What?" I was like, "It's just the song speaks to."
So if you guys don't know, it was Wild for the Night by Skrillex. No, I'm just kidding.
Actually, it was I think "Bless the Road" by Rascal Flatts.
Dude, that song though, if that doesn't make you cry, then you're not a human. I don't even know the fucking
God bless
key.
the broken road that led me straight to you.
Oh yeah. God, yeah, that's a fuck. That's a
and to me it hit a lot of it hit really hard. It hit a lot of areas in my life. I was like, damn, like.
And you cried in front of her?
Yeah, I was driving. She was in the passenger seat.
So how does that make you feel though when you start breaking down? Like not breaking down, but like when you start exposing those.
Human.
That's something I really need to work on, bro, because I think I've only cried in front of my fiance one time, and it wasn't for anything like that had to do with my mental health. It was just because I was happy.
Yeah, I mean, human is the best way I can put it, man. Like I feel like in a lot of things in life we try to wear the Superman cape, and we're impenetrable. Nothing can phase us.
I think vulnerability is very underestimated.
It's in my opinion, everybody's vulnerable to something. But yeah, it shows the human side, man. It's because she tells me like there's times where my tone will change, and like she says I can become scary. Like yo, get out of Cabo.
Same here.
But that's not who I want to be. I want to be able to wear both hats. I want to be able to, hey, when it's time to get things done, put that hat on. It's game time, and I will bear whatever comes my direction. But I also feel if there's a time where like that song in particular hits you, like it's okay to let it out. Because it was a joyful moment. It was like, damn, because I have gone through a lot with my relationships in the past,
Mm-hmm.
and to finally have it all come together with her And it's just kind of like, yeah, maybe all that crap took place and it led me, to you, and I'm grateful for that. And so when it hit, it just eyes got watery and I was like, oh God, here we come,
Well, I'll be the first
and
to say that I'm
so
very happy for you, man,
I
because I know
appreciate
what
it,
you've
man.
been through.
And but we can tie that into something you spoke on earlier, reflecting on yourself. And I think that's one of the hardest things any one individual can do. They often say that we are our hardest critics, because you see all the things wrong with you that no one else sees,
Can't hide from your
and
deepest secrets.
yeah. And so for one to sit back and kind of do some self-reflecting, it's a bitter pill to swallow, and it's a big pill to swallow. And so I did some soul searching. I read some books on relationships because I kind of went down to like, hey, maybe I'm the problem. Maybe I'm putting something out there that's not being well received, and maybe it worked with my girl now, or maybe it was just luck, or maybe I didn't change as much as I thought I did, and she just accepted me for who I am.
So of course you're not perfect, and no one is. Neither am I. But do you feel like she's getting the good John,
I feel like she's bringing
the better John?
the better John out of me. I feel like everything that I'm doing now is who I am, but I don't want to say demanding more out of me, but she's
Pushing.
she's extracting all that other stuff that I didn't know I had in me out. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And so it's driving me to be a better John. The best John for her.
I want to say one thing just because I don't want to act like I'm the only general here. My fiance is a very, very strong person, and she herself often hides the emotions that she's feeling, and she often tucks it away to be strong for me as well. And if you do watch this, I don't know, you probably don't, but I appreciate it. And I appreciate you for being strong because I know that I'm not the easiest person in the world to be with. And I told you that when I got down on one knee and proposed. Secondly, I tell my fiance the same thing. She got a version of me that's better than who I was before. Um,
and it's constantly evolving, which I think is crucial.
yeah.
And so excuse me, that Red Bull's kind of
Oh yeah.
getting me. But
You need to eat.
no, I'm good. I'm good. But yeah, she
Oh, we're already at an hour too. I didn't even know.
she brings the best out, and it's a good thing.
How about vice versa?
I would say it's the same.
You think so? Has she
Mhm.
told you that?
Yeah, and not so many words. She's kind of reserved sometimes when it comes to
Oh my God, tell me about it.
opening up, but she's doing it.
But
you know,
you can feel it though. That's the thing.
Yeah, 100%. And I can't say anything bad about her. Like, because if I did, I'd be lying. Like, it's a relationship. We go through ups and downs. But in the grand scheme of things, like, it's almost scary how well her and I have worked out. You know what I'm saying?
Just always. Here's what I've learned: just never take it for granted, man.
Oh
and
no,
appreciate it for what
I
it is.
appreciate every moment that I have with her, man. She's a great woman. If you see this, talking about you,
You really have to take the time to, like, as cheesy or corny as it might seem, you have to take the time to just look at them in their eyes and appreciate them and
Oh,
tell them
100%.
that and convey that to them, and don't keep that to yourself. Let them know that they are that person
Oh,
for you.
believe me, that's probably one of my downfalls is I'm
A little too much.
a little too much, but I'm working on that even if it doesn't seem like I'm not. That's one of my vices, I would say.
As long as it's genuine, man, I think there's nothing wrong with it. But yeah,
it's
there
been
is
nothing but.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's very important to communicate because everybody needs, at some point in time, confirmation. You want to know that what you're putting into something is for the right reasons.
100%.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, do you want to end on that note, bro?
We can keep going, dude. It's up to you.
We got an hour 3. Is there anything else that fucking itching at your brain that you want to talk
I just like the conversation
about?
leading us down multiple different avenues. That's a lot of fun.
No, yeah, bro. I mean, there's, like I said, this is one of those platforms where I feel like it's just limitless, and I'm very, very happy that I have an opportunity to do something like this with you, man.
Yeah, it's good when you got two people that can carry a conversation. It doesn't get stagnant or boring. At least to me, I don't know about a viewer.
It doesn't matter to me though, honestly, because I enjoy this.
Well, yeah, again, you're doing it for yourself, so that's a big, very important factor.
Yeah, I don't really have any other. There's no ulterior motives other
Mhm.
than I really just enjoy this, and I feel like this is just something that I'm passionate about, and God willing, I want to continue.
Yeah, I think a lot of the topics that we covered, everybody experiences.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
think that's a big thing.
I often feel bad for people sometimes because I was blessed enough to find my passion at such a young age. And I've always been interested in numerous things, not just one thing. I've always been fascinated by a number of things, a multitude of things. And I've always put my heart into them, and I feel bad for the people that haven't found that yet, and I often feel that that is my gift, my passion. And
Yeah.
you know me. I mean, I'm
Mhm.
passionate about a lot of fucking shit, man.
Same here. But what's funny is with the occupation that I'm in, I never really saw myself doing.
I,
And
I mean, I
like it-
kind of saw it coming.
the reason because the exit interview for high school, they talk about like, oh, what career do you want to go through? And I picked CHP because I knew they made good money, but it wasn't because I'm not CHP by the way, but I was like, oh, law enforcement, CHP makes a lot of money. I'll go do that. But where I'm at now in law enforcement, it was like I never saw, how actually I got started working out of jail. I was a
Mhm.
correctional officer out of jail, and
And yeah, I
never in a
remember
thousand
when-
years did I think that I was going to be in that particular field.
Mm.
So
But those are the best parts about life, man. You never know what's gonna come, and I don't want to know what's going to come. That's why I've always had that in my mind to just appreciate, at least try, appreciate everything that I have in my life, and not anticipate the future. Because when you think about it, man, it's all about being present.
yeah, I agree 100%. I just feel that it's like plan the day that you want to have. Plan the life that you want to have. Is it going to go 100%?
It's good to have a plan.
Absolutely not. Almost every plan you ever made in your life or will ever make is not going to go 100% the way it's supposed to. And so I like living in the present. I think the most valuable currency we have on earth is time, and
Mhm.
people don't view it that way. And so, I mean, you can always make more money. You can never make no more time.
Mhm.
You can't turn back the hands of time and get more out of it. So being present, 100%. But I also think it's crucial to try to plan the future that you want to have. And
But that's why you practice these tools like the 12 steps that we were reading off from the book, to prepare yourself for the times that your plan doesn't go accordingly, so you
Mhm.
can adjust.
exactly, 100%.
Because a lot of people, when life throws a spoke in their a stick in their forks or their spokes, they don't know what to do.
No, it's complete panic. As a matter of fact, I'll, again, to get a little personal, when my grandfather 2 years ago was diagnosed with lung cancer, my mom was in a state of panic. I mean, justifiably so. And of course, my grandfather, like, I don't, it's a scary thing. Stage 3, tumor the size of a baseball in his lungs. Like, it was at the time, it was a mass. They didn't want to say it was cancerous yet, but my grandpa's been smoking since he was like 15. To me, the writing was on the walls. But my thing was, okay, I can sit here and grieve like it's the end of the world, or let's start trying to do what's necessary. Hey, let's find a good doctor for him. Let's find a good doctor. What's the next plan? Let's not worry about, let's not take this on later let's just plan for the worst, and it turned out stage 3 lung cancer. I mean, granted, 2 years now, and the tumor's down to a size of a quarter.
Oh wow,
So
remission.
I think technically remissions when it doesn't it continue to expand.
Okay,
I don't know where he's at with that particular
they're
thing
still
right now,
trying to shrink it.
but
What was the rate at which it was shrunken in the 80s, 70s? The percentage, I mean.
I couldn't tell you, but going from the size of a baseball to a quarter,
That's a
that's
huge, that's a significant
so
difference.
I don't know the percentage on that, but
Substantial difference.
But like again, preparing for I was just like, what's the next move? How do we get through this? And I'll sit here and cry and mourn when that time is in front of me. To me, that time's not now. To me, the time is when's the next doctor's appointment? Who's gonna get him to the doctors? What kind of food does he need to eat? Stuff like that. Like that was my way of thinking about that situation, because it's like, look, if God forbid that, the end came knocking really soon, then I'll deal with that when that time is present. But I'm not going to sit here and act like it's here now, because we still have some moves that we can make to push that out further. You know what I'm saying? And so that was kind of what I was trying to get my mom on that same page. Just like, hey, look. And then my mom ran with that. I mean, my mom was setting up appointments, but my grandparents live in Arizona. So it wasn't easy for logistics wise, trying to get everything coordinated, but she made it happen, got rides for them. found some like people to come deliver groceries and stuff like that. And so, yeah, I'm not saying I played because my mom did all the legwork. I'm not saying maybe I had some little modicum of
Yeah.
influence on the. Okay, you're right. Let's get the ball rolling. But that's kind of what I think the whole thing was about. That book's about just whenever these situations present themselves, how to deal with them.
How to adjust. Yeah. There's a quote that I wrote down, and I forget where it was from, so I apologize. But I want to know what your thoughts are on it. And this kind of ties into that, I think, because a lot of people kind of forget what a real problem is sometimes because they've never been faced with them. Um, if you can make choices or decisions to change something, that it's not a problem. So if you can make choices or decisions to change something, that's not a problem. It's an inconvenience. The day that you can make a choice, you can't make a choice because of something like cancer or sickness, then you've got a problem.
I don't. Yeah, I mean, I don't. That's 100%
Because most of
truthful.
because most of the time, it's an inconvenience. It's just, are you willing to put in the work to change that?
Yeah, and
Because something like lung cancer is out of your control.
Yeah, I mean, well, he could have not smoked, but
Sorry if I butchered that, but no, at that point,
but yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly right. Like, okay, I don't got money to do something. Okay, I could sell some stuff. I can go hustle a side job. Like, yeah, it's inconvenient to your everyday life. But it's, yeah, inconvenience. Something dealing with health like that, like that's a massive problem because the options that you have are rather limited, and the success rate. Again, we all know cancer is an animal.
I often feel people don't understand that quite as well as they should. People need to understand and be able to discern a real problem from something that's just an inconvenience.
Yeah, I agree.
I think
However, I think it's you don't know what it's like until you're in that moment. So if you've never been exposed to, we'll say real problems, then something as simple as I didn't get my coffee today might be the end of the world for you.
Well, that's why I feel like it's important to understand that, because it would save you a lot of time and inconvenience, because you would understand that in the moment, sometimes you're not going to get your coffee on time, bro. Sometimes there's going to be a line. It's not the end of the fucking world. If you just understood that, then I think people would just be a lot happier.
But I think it comes down to is where people, it's kind of like, okay, let's say we're headed in a similar path and you've made mistakes and you advise me of all the hurdles I'm about to come, and I still make the same mistakes that you told me don't do this, and I still go and do them. Sometimes it takes people to play with fire to realize playing with fire can burn you.
Oh, 100%, bro. And so I've learned the hard way myself 100 times.
And so as best as I can, I truly, when I say this, I mean truly, really, really try to learn from others' experiences so I can mitigate the chances of me doing something similar and having similar setbacks. It's hard though, I mean, sometimes you just got to jump in the water to feel like, hey, it was too damn cold to get in,
Yeah, I've often been burned because I was playing with fire. But, for me at least, that was the best way for me to learn. And oftentimes, it's out of your control with your children or with your family members or siblings or whatever. Sometimes you just got to let them get burned, man. Yeah, it depends on the circumstances. If this guy's about to jump off a roof, yeah, try and console him. But if it's something like, hey, this guy's getting married, but I'm not sure if it's the right choice, let him find that out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or whatever the situation is. I think it's up to,
you
got to leave it up to them to get, because the only way for something, at least for me, to stick in my head and really teach me a lesson is if I hit rock bottom oftentimes. But there are times where I've just peeped my environment and I understood because of what others around me went through. I learned from that. But there are cases where I needed to just get burned by the fire.
Yeah. But I think that all comes back together with, white people, see problems as or inconveniences as problems.
It could be it could be anybody though. Did you say white people?
No.
Oh, I thought you said white people.
No, white people.
I was like, I think just anybody, right?
No, YWHY. White people. Not white people.
So on that note, everybody.
Right. Just got demonetized before monetization.
I'm not even monetized yet, but hopefully we get to that point.
Well, yeah, but not anymore. No, definitely said why people. view.
I don't even
their
want to say
inca-
words like the R word because I don't want to get flagged. So
Oh no. But yeah. Plus, I think even the DSM they got rid of the R word. So it's.
Oh, they did, huh?
Yeah, I think it's mental disabilities. I think is what they went.
So yeah,
with,
for those of you who don't know, the DSM and the DSM-5 is what psychologists and psychiatrists diagnose you based off. It's a book that describes everything that involves mental illness.
Yeah, so I believe they got rid of that because I remember going through a portion of my academy.
So it's not an official term anymore. Like it used to be.
I believe they got rid of it.
I mean
It's
the
like
other
mental-
R. I meant the other R word though, racist. But
okay, my bad.
I was like, this fool didn't say white people, did he?
No. Yeah, that's why I think just it's all perception.
Yeah.
And until you've been in a real problem situation. Like I said, something as simple as maybe not getting a coffee might be the end of your world.
And you know what?
You know what? And I think it's kind of messed up that people we tend to, oh, you don't know what a real problem is. I've been through some problems, but like to them that might be
the end of the world.
The end of the world, and that's why they're behaving in such a manner. And I think it's kind of messed up on I've done it.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't want to talk shit because I've been that person.
But but no, it's not talking trash. It's just. We're people, we're not always the best versions of ourselves at all times, and so I've been there, done that, but I truly tried to be, okay, yeah, I mean, to me, that's you call that a problem. Let me tell you about my problems, but try to understand it from their perspective as best as you can, so.
Well, I think we've come to the time we got to wrap it up. In the future here, though, we're looking into investing into a bigger memory card so we could just fucking keep going.
Yeah.
Because I know I got a lot of steam left in me.
Oh, believe me, the train hasn't even left the station for me, so.
But that's good, though, man. I'm glad that you're enthused about this, and I'm enthused just as much as you are, probably. And I can't wait to continue doing this, man.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure.
It's fucking dope, dude. I'm glad that we get to do this, man, and I'm glad that this sparked your interest.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like I said, I've had the thoughts, like I said, never put it on paper about, okay, tomorrow I'm going to go buy this piece of equipment to get the ball rolling. But, that's, I like talking. Yeah, 'cause that's what I'm known for. I'm never shy of conversation. So.
Me either, man.
And those of you that know me, that's true. Trust me. I probably don't shut up enough.
I hope the homies watch this one. So, or these ones in general. Like, I hope they start watching them because they know you. They know us.
Yeah.
And it's. I'm sure you guys will be able to relate. But go ahead.
No, that's it, man.
Yeah, I think we're gonna wrap it up, though, man. It's been an hour and a half. So
already, jeez.
Yeah, almost. We're getting there. So I'm afraid to push the limits here with my technology. So I'm gonna go ahead and call it.
All right. Until next time.
But I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and if you guys enjoy this content, please like, subscribe, and share. You can expect these every Monday. I don't plan on falling off schedule. I know I have in the past due to unforeseen circumstances, but I plan to drop these every Monday and in between do vlogs. So
one thing you forgot to mention is hit the bell for notifications. So
when
these things get up, you get advised that they're up and ready to be viewed. So.
Hell yeah. So hope you guys enjoy this episode of the PO3 Podcast. My name is Marcus Marks.
I'm John.
I'm just John, man. See you guys later.